Hey, it's JJ Virgin, and welcome to the JJ Virgin Lifestyle Show, where I give you the latest cutting-edge intel to help you look, feel, and think better so you're ready for prime time. Now, today is super fun. It's going to feel like we're going sideways, but we're not, because it's all about mindset. And I am talking with Jen Sincero. She's the author of You Are a Badass. She's got a new book out, You Are a Badass at Making Money. Why this is important for all of us? Well, this is a gal who at 40 years old was living in a converted one-car garage and turned it all around. So for all of us, where we want to go in our lives, living a great life costs money. Taking better care of your health, having better relationships, going better places. But here's the thing about that. It all comes down to mindset. Again, whether you're looking to improve your health, your relationships, your career, and your money, it all comes down to mindset. And you're going to hear that so loudly and clearly today from Jen. And that's why I'm super excited to have her on the show, because this is that third pillar of health. It's how you eat, it's how you move, and it's how you think. So today is going to help you on the think part of things. So let me tell you a little bit about Jen. She's a #1 New York Times bestselling author. She's a success coach and a motivational speaker. And she has spent now over a decade traveling the world, helping people transform their lives and their bank accounts via her public appearances, private sessions, coaching seminars, and books. And she is living out there in Santa Fe, New Mexico. She's just a fun gal. I've had so much fun with this interview. I can't wait to share it with you. And you're going to see that a lot of the things that I talk about in the Miracle Mindset book, I always say success leaves clues. Well, sure enough, a lot of the things that I talk about in the Miracle Mindset book about helping up-level your mindset so that you can show up bigger in every area of your life. Well, lo and behold, Jen's saying the same thing. So today's show is about money mindset, but it's really all about mindset. And so I'm excited to share my new pal, Jen, with you. All right, let's do it. Jen Sincero. Yeah, I got it right. Welcome to the show. I'm so glad you're here with me today.
I'm so glad to be here. Thanks so much.
Yeah, well, this is it feels a little sideways, but for everyone listening, you got to have the cash to be able to do the things you need to do to take care of your health. And I love that you approach money with mindset. I would say it's badass, but you've already said it, so I can't really say that. But I love to dive in, and when someone has a great hero's journey, which you have an awesome one, start there, because I guess we're living in a converted garage.
Mm-hmm.
When you start. So
one car, not two cars. No, two car fanciness.
I will tell you that I interviewed Dean Graziosi, and he was living in a bathroom, so he has you beat.
Oh. Damn it.
But a garage is pretty good. So let's start there. How did you go from garage to 7 figures?
Well, and I'd also like to say that I was in my 40s living in the garage, folks. So if you're a late bloomer too, there's hope for you. Honestly, it was a mindset shift. I made the decision to stop screwing around. I really woke up one day and was like, oh my gosh, I'm 40 and I'm going to die in this garage if I don't get my act together. So I made the decision and I started doing things that I refused to do before because they were too expensive or too cheesy or too whatever. So I started going to self-help seminars and I started reading every self-help book under the sun. And I hired a life coach for literally a quarter of my income, put it on a credit card, went into debt. Mm-hmm. It's terrifying.
Oh, honey, when my checks were bouncing, I hired a $100,000 business coach.
Rock on, right? And the most terrifying money you'll ever spend. But I remember, of course, I hired her, and then 2 minutes later, called her up and begged her, sobbing for my money back. And thanks to her, she's like, "This is probably the most important money you will ever spend. Right. So stay with me."
And you got your money's worth.
Oh my gosh. I was the biggest nerd student. I did every single thing she told me to do. And so we got an online business up and running and, it's a long story, but I basically tripled my income in the first 3 months. And from there, and I was coaching writers online. And then I went to just general life coaching because the reason most people aren't writing is because they're a nervous wreck about their ability to say something the way they want to say it, their right to say something, blah, blah, blah. And then, and then I got the idea to write You Are a Badass, and I wrote that, and, then my business grew tenfold, and now I've got the new book on making money.
I know, super exciting. So did you have I'm sure you had you had multiple breakthroughs, but was there one big one as you were going through that?
One of the biggest things I realized was, we all have stumbling blocks. We all have subconscious beliefs that are holding us back from creating the lives we want to create. And by pushing myself into the fire and spending money I was terrified to spend, this belief of mine appeared before me. And it was that one of the main reasons I wasn't letting myself make money is because my father always gave me a check for like $100 or gave me $20 here and there. And that was how he showed me that he loved me. And I had this deep-seated belief that if I became a financially successful woman, my father wouldn't be able to show me he loved me anymore. It would basically be like stabbing him in the heart. And man, did that completely break open my whole world.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
That is amazing. I am so fascinated by all this stuff because honestly, my whole money life changed because of a shift in mindset. Was never,
right?
And honestly, it's whether it's your health or your relationships or
Totally.
your career or it's all mindset stuff. So I just love that you're hitting it this way. Now, so you talked about that one, and how did you figure that out?
By not waiting to have all the answers. Like I just kept doing things that scared the living crap out of me. And
Yay! That's one of my things I tell people to do. If you're not feeling fear, you're not playing big enough, right?
Totally. Because that's how you get outside your comfort zone. So I kept taking huge steps, and it really was spending money on coaching, was it? And there was something about, instead of looking at this coaching program being like, check please, I don't have that money in front of me. Instead of having that mindset, which is what I had my whole life in my 40s, right? Because I had made the decision when the bill came for the life coach, I was like, I thought, how am I going to get this money? What am I going to do to make this money? It was that shift in mindset that brought up my subconscious belief. It was so intense and so incredible. It really, and that's what's stopping so many people, honestly, is not wanting to hurt people they love or not wanting to be abandoned,
Or not feeling good enough. But you did something super cool there. It's what I talk about in Miracle Mindset. When my son was like lying there hovering between life and death, I'm like, how do I get him to be 110%? And you were like, how do I get that money? It's when you ask the question of possibility, it starts to shift. So totally. I'm sure you've seen now some common negative ideas around money. Like what are some of the ones that are just out there that are the most common?
One is that money is not there for you somehow. It's there for other people. Like I had a big one with this where I would look at somebody who had a mansion and a yacht and be like, they're almost a different species than I am. Like that doesn't even make sense for me. So that it's available to other people, but not you, that you don't deserve it. Huge one. That you aren't allowed to make it. And I have a whole chapter in You Are a Badass at Making Money about allowance, because giving yourself permission to make money is so huge, because money is so dirty and rich people are jerks. And if you focus on making money, it means you have no values. We have so much on money, so much judgment on money. And
it's crazy. And you know what I've seen early on, Jen, is early on in health, I discovered that people would have success in their health program almost to the level that it was uncomfortable for them to pay for it. That when I gave it to them for free, they didn't do any. In fact, I used to, when I train other health experts, I say, never give this away. They will do nothing with it. And then they'll tell you your program didn't work. But when people had to pay for something, just like you had to pay that coach and you couldn't afford it, and I paid that coach and I couldn't afford it. It's like when you can afford it and it's easy, then it's like, you're like, it kind of sits in the corner. You don't really do anything with it. So it's that stretch that really makes you take action.
Absolutely. And believe me, I've been coaching for over 10 years and I've had people pay me big sums of money and still not do the work. So it really is about that mindset, like the stretch and the no nonsense decision.
Yeah. That you're just going to get into action. And do you find that some people are waiting to get into action until they get it perfect?
Oh, absolutely. That's such a big one.
Oh, I know. Isn't it funny? Because that is I had a great coach early on who said, whatever you're saying, like, oh, I can't do this yet. I need another degree, or I need to have more money in the bank, or I need to, blah, blah, blah. She said, it just puts, so I don't have to after it.
Oh, I love that. Oh my gosh, that's a great one.
Okay. So someone listening who is like, all right, okay, I'm ready to face my fears. I'm ready to get over this stuff. I'm ready to change my life. I want to make money. I realize that it's not evil. I mean, people do evil things because they don't have money, right? What piece of advice do you have for those people?
A couple things. First, start paying attention to whatever your broken record is about money and your ability to make it. So if you're constantly saying, I can't afford it, the economy sucks, everything's not perfect, become militant about paying attention to your words, thoughts, and beliefs. Change them when you stumble upon something that's not necessarily getting you in the direction you want to go. So for example, my broken record was, I can't afford it. That was my answer to everything. When I made the decision, it became, I am surrounded by money and I'm ready to receive it. I had no idea where it was coming from. I had no idea how I was going to make it, but it lifted my spirits. It raised my frequency. And then when the coach came along, instead of being like, I can't afford it, I was like, okay, I'm in. So it opened me up to taking on those opportunities that were around me, even when I was broke, but that I could not literally see because I was so busy focusing on all my negative beliefs and thoughts. And then the third thing is to take action and take scary action. Do something. And when you get that intuitive hit, like I met this coach, she felt right to me for many reasons, even though it was so terrifying. Intuitively, it felt right. So I acted on it immediately. And the quickness in the action is critical, because if you wait and you think about it and your frequency will lower. All your excuses that have kept you right where you are will come flooding back in and push you back inside your comfort zone. So you got to take terrifying action quickly.
I love terrifying. I'm going to say that. I always say take inspired imperfect action. I'm going to now start with terrifying inspired imperfect action. That's so good. One of the things that I do every single morning, and I've done it for decades, with my very first mindset, I thought she was a business coach, and she spent 6 months teaching me mindset. And I'm like, when am I going to learn the business? Not realizing that, like, if you're going to build a business, it's really a personal development course. And one of the things she taught me to do every morning was to get up and say, write down physically, actually take a pen and put it on paper and write down 3 things you're grateful for. And when my son was in the hospital, like hovering between life and death, I would get up in the morning in this crappy hotel room and write down 3 things I was grateful for. It's like that saved me, because I'd be scared to death. And there's something about gratitude that just like kicks fear in its butt. So what you say that it's important to be grateful to money. Why?
Because it raises your frequency and it opens you up to notice those opportunities. And the experience of gratitude also allows you to recognize that you've already got so many amazing things in your world. So if you've got those, of course you can have more. What you focus on, you create more of. So it's about shifting your focus onto what you deserve and desire instead of focusing on what makes you feel awful.
Now, a lot of women in my world, like when I queried them last year and I said, why aren't you where you want to be in your health? And they said, oh, I don't feel good enough. I don't feel worthy. I don't have self-confidence. And I'm like, what? And it made me realize that for so much of what we do in life, it's not a shortage of strategy. Just like you see, you can't even see it. It's a shortage of mindset. And you talk about confidence, how would that impact our finances?
Because you have to take terrifying leaps into the unknown. If you're not feeling confident, it's going to be more difficult. So, and here's the good news. Everybody is born confident. Babies don't know that they can't do things, or that they'll look stupid, or that people will laugh at them, right? They don't care. They're just, sticking their fingers up their nose. So you're born with it, and it's one of the many things that we learn to not be along the way. So you are innately confident. It's just a muscle that you got to build up. So I am a huge believer, if you're not feeling confident, work on building your confidence muscle, stand up tall. That is amazing how much that shifts your energy. Take little steps, keep strengthening your muscle by taking little risks, taking little terrifying leaps into the unknown, pushing yourself outside of your comfort zone every day and getting specific about what those things are. You can't keep doing things the same way and expect different results, right? So if you don't feel confident, make the effort to do things to make yourself more confident, because you need that.
I do think that idea of every day, I love that little phrase on the Lululemon bag that says, do one thing a day that scares you. But I always know that if I'm getting to a place where I'm not feeling a little freaked out, that I'm playing it safe again. And I'm kind of settling in. It's like, all right, push it out there. So someone listening right now, they're like, okay, but a lot of this stuff seems like it's really big. What's one thing right now, today, they're listening, one thing, because you talked about getting into terrifying action immediately. Okay, so what's one thing right now, Jen? Besides getting your book, which obviously we want them all to get. That's the obvious. The next one thing terrifying, because that's not terrifying, that's just buying a book. Next thing is what?
Sit down and write a letter to money as if it was a person. This is an exercise that I have, and You Are a Badass at Making Money. And notice what comes up for you. This was such a revealing exercise that I did, because most of us have a full-on freak show going on around money. It's like, dear money, I love you. I wish I had more of you, but you make me feel dirty, and I don't trust that you're going to be there for me. So write down, stream of consciousness, all the things that you feel about money, and notice what you've got going on that is a negative and hindering belief, and turn that around and make a new mantra out of it. Get all excited about it, feel it in your bones, and start there with shifting your mindset and your thoughts and beliefs about money.
That's a good one. Good one, Jen. All right, now I'm going to throw a little curveball at you. Won't be, though. Okay, so what's one thing you do every day that you feel makes the biggest difference in your life?
Going for a walk. I find that, physically, I feel so much better. And if you feel like crap physically, you're going to just perform so much worse. But also, nature is my most inspiring pal. And I live in New Mexico for a reason. And when I just get so in my head and so into the grind, and, it's very easy to do, especially when you're on a book deadline, just even getting out for 5 minutes completely shifts my energy. I feel better. I'm more inspired. I'm happier. And so taking the time to do what makes you feel good is so important. It's such a no-brainer, and so many of us don't do it.
Isn't it funny? I actually queried people. I was like, okay, so what's the thing? When I used to see people one-on-one, I go, what's the thing you do for fun? They're like looking at you like, fun? That thing.
Okay.
That thing that makes you laugh and, have bliss. That thing. And no, it's not going to your kid's soccer game. I'm pretty darn sure. Pretty sure.
Right.
So,
right.
All right. People who want more, first of all, obviously get the book, right? And the name of the book is... That's your cue.
That's my cue. Okay.
Da-da-da.
You Are a Badass at Making Money. Master the Mindset of Wealth.
Fabulous. And people wanting to just hang out, because I know you do a lot of fun stuff. You're a fun gal, seems like, from what I can tell. Kind of fun.
Thank you. I think so.
I think so too. Where would they go check out more stuff of yours, Jen?
You can go to my website at jensincero.com. So it's Jen, and then Sincero is spelled like the word sincere, but it's got an O instead of an E. So JenSincero.com.
Yeah, now I'll know if people really know you or not, because I've been pronouncing your name wrong forever.
You and the rest of the world, it's quite all right.
They don't mess up my name, though. They just giggle at it. So there you go. All right. It has been awesome. Thank you so much for joining me. So just a reminder to everybody, of course, get the book. This is a definite first action step. Then your second action step of writing the letter, and jump on Jen's website at jensincero.com. And thank you so much for joining me. So awesome.
Thank you so much for having me. This was great. I really appreciate it.
Yeah. So after the break, I'll be answering a listener's questions. So stay with me.
If you're over 35 or under stress, you might not be digesting protein well, and you may decide to take an enzyme product. But if you think all enzyme products are basically the same, here's the truth. Most digestive enzymes help your body digest everything better. Sounds great, except for one thing. When you speed up carbohydrate digestion, you're actually raising your blood sugar, which is not good. JJ has included a special ingredient in her digestive enzyme that slows and even blocks some carbohydrate digestion while supporting protein digestion. Visit jjvirgin.com/products and give JJ's digestive enzymes a try today.
Welcome back. This is the time where I answer a listener's question, and I love to pull these off my Facebook page. So if you are listening, pop on over to Facebook Official. If you got a question, leave one there. This is where I love to grab them. This one comes from Karen in Simi Valley. This is one that I've heard before, so I really wanted to address it. Karen says, JJ, I've been following you. I've read your books, and I just can't seem to get started. What do I do? Okay, Karen, here's what I actually talked about in my Miracle Mindset Academy last week, because I had a gal who went through everything and she said, JJ, I read everything and I just can't seem to get into action. Well, you know what? You cannot think your way into action. You know how you get into action? You take action. And so here's what I would tell you to do, is just pick one thing right now, immediately, and get started. Step into it. And I'll tell you what I put first above everything else. And again, whether you want to lose weight, whether you want to get more active, whether you're working on some other area of your health, the single thing that I've seen has been the best for making the shift is to start the day with gratitude. I know you thought I was going to say is to start the day with a shake, right? Well, that's second. But first is grab a journal, physically grab a journal, one that you touch and you open up with pages, get out a pen, write down 3 things or people you are grateful for. That's your first habit. From there, we can start to work on your purpose, why you really want to make this change in your health, and that purpose will push forward the courage to get you moving. Because as you heard today, if you're not feeling a little afraid a little scared by the things you're attempting, you are playing it safe, my friend, and life is too short. And so I want you to just stop thinking, start doing, get into action. Super important. Now, next up, I want to throw some gratitude out. This is the portion of the show where I throw some gratitude out, and I'm going to highlight the review of the week. Now, I got to tell you, I read all the reviews out there on iTunes, and I would hugely appreciate you leaving a review. We've got a lot of great star ratings, but I love to read those things. So I'd love to hear a review. Today's review is from Ellie, and Ellie writes, let me see if I can read my writing. I've been a fan of JJ's for a long time, and her advice really works for both me and my husband. I look forward to listening and learning more. So thank you so much for that, Ellie. Super appreciate that. And so again, I just want to remind you all, I'd be so grateful if you could pop on over there to iTunes and leave a review. Hopefully I'll get to highlight you on the next show. And thank you again for joining me today. Remember to get into action. Show up. Step up. You are stronger than you think. Because when you do, guess what? Magic happens. What do you want to show up for in your life?